Welcome to Lost Woods Radio, the podcast where two friends do their best to detail every game in the Legend of Zelda series from memory. I'm Silver, along with my co-host Ellie. Today's game is The Legend of Zelda. I don't know how long this episode is going to be. We were just talking about that because The Legend of Zelda is release order the 1st, and so a lot of this will be an interesting conversation. Well, what I have listed here on the run notes is, segment 1 is, what is our actual history with this game? I did not finish the first Legend of Zelda until after I finished The Adventure of Link.
Oh. I never finished it at all, so this is going to be great.
You've played it, though?
I've played it a very, very long time ago.
Okay. Yeah, if for some reason you're listening to this podcast and you do not know what The Legend of Zelda is, it is the first Legend of Zelda game, as the title might make you think. Released on the Nintendo, like, a year after the Nintendo came out, I think. Maybe the first year?
Something like that. It was 86, right?
Yeah, that seems right. Okay, so here comes the quote-unquote hard part, which a lot of people don't know for this game because it's kind of hidden in a few places. What are the events of this game? What leads up to this game? What's the lore purpose of this game from memory?
I feel like this is like a trick question. This is the first iteration, it's the first attempt at a Zelda story. So it was just kind of an adventure, wasn't it? And then everything came from it. So
yeah, there's the intro scroll, which I can't remember the exact verbiage on, but I do know that it's like, this game is very much about the Triforce of Wisdom. Like the quote-unquote an evil army comes to steal the Triforce of Wisdom, and so Princess Zelda breaks it up and spreads it across the kingdom. The evil army is Ganon's army, blah, blah, blah. Ganon had already stolen the Triforce of Power. I think that's right.
I don't know, it's been like 15 years, I think, for me.
I have not played through the original Zelda. And even the last time I played Legend of Zelda, I definitely did not look at the intro scroll. I know there's probably more in the manual. And like, Link has no narrative. He's literally just an adventurer
he's just a guy.
Yeah.
With his little tiny shorts on underneath his little dress and his hat. And yeah.
His tunic. And depending on which art you look at, either he's wearing shorts or just stockings.
Either way, a hero.
Yes. Brown-haired Link. Link's hair color changes a lot throughout the series. And I think that's kind of it. We will look up either after the episode or near the end of the episode how correct we are on that. It's hard because we got to make sure that we don't look up like things that relate to the other games. I think I'll just pull up the main Wikipedia page rather than the Zelda wiki, since that'll probably have too much reference to other stuff.
Yeah, I mean, so Legend of Zelda for me was a game that I started out with Zelda not realizing it was a series.
Sure.
And I tried to play The Legend of Zelda when I was discovering that there was more games, basically. So it's kind of smushed in there with like a bunch of other ones for me. And I could be talking about any of them. I'll be real.
Yeah. I mean, that's understandable. I want to say, like, when it came to the NES, I was extremely young before I had a hands-on one. But it had been out for a few years. Like the NES technically came to America before I did. So, I want to say, like, it was pretty late in my time with the NES before I played Zelda. Like, I played Mega Man 2. I think that might have been the first console video game I ever played. So, like, well after Zelda had come out, and like Mario and stuff like that. And I think I had gotten access. I don't remember if it was a rental or if someone gave us a copy or if I got one as a gift. But I had both The Adventure of Link and The Legend of Zelda at the same time. And Legend of Zelda was interesting. Right? Like, it's a very interesting game for the time. It is very open world. You go out and do whatever you want and whatever order you want. You can go get screwed up by a Lionel if you really want to, before you're prepared for it. That dude will mess you up. And it's only like 2 of them, and they're really scary because they literally kill you in like 2 hits. Anyway, but I did not finish it until like many years after I finished The Adventure of Link. So I liked it. You definitely see where the ideas from that game eventually feeds out into everything else.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a good transition because our next segment is what are the first appearances in this game in regarding to the timeline and for a game itself? And that's both an easy and hard question.
I mean, for everything, it's the first appearance.
Well, yes. So everything that is in this
Technically.
game is absolutely the first appearance of those things.
Never
maybe it's easier
before
to say.
seen.
Maybe it's easier to say what's not in this game.
Oh God, no, it's not.
Well, so the thing that people don't realize, like I mentioned a little bit earlier, is that the first game, you're not collecting the Triforce. You are collecting pieces of the Triforce of Wisdom. The Triforce of Courage technically does not exist yet in this timeline. It is something that I remember very specifically. I hope I'm not getting this wrong. Something very specifically that they call out, I think, in the manual, that like the Triforce of Courage is like a myth. No one's seen it. There's only the Triforce of Wisdom and the Triforce of Power.
Yeah.
And so like that's why it's very confusing for some people. It's like, well, why does he only hold up a single triangle at the end of the game? It's like, well, because they don't know where the other stuff is at. There's no Ganondorf. It's just Ganon. Ganondorf doesn't exist. There's no multiple peoples, right? The only people you run into are Hylians. I guess technically, eventually Zora are in the game, but they're not necessarily a culture you interact with. You got your red and blue tunics. No, just the red one actually. I think was the blue one in there?
I think it was a mini game mode for Hyrule Warriors, I want to say, on the Wii U. There was like a Legend of Zelda game in a game that I played that confuses me as well, because it was the same like top down, move between screens, burn a bush to like go underground and all that kind of stuff. So maybe, but I could be confusing myself.
I mean, so I'm trying to think, what items do we know in there? I know, obviously, Boomerang's there. The bow and arrow's there. Not a lantern, it was the candle. The river raft and a ladder, which does Link ever get a ladder again?
I don't think so. He just learns to swim through the ground.
Yeah. What's funny is like, people don't think of it very often. They're like, oh, that's cute. There's side-scrolling in Link's Awakening. Like, no, side-scrolling was in the first game. When you go down to get the item, you're going at a side-scrolling. You can't jump, but technically Link can't jump for a good couple decades after this game.
He eventually gets leg muscles and can manage it.
Absolutely the first and potentially the only appearance of It's Dangerous to Go Alone. Take this. Not the first appearance, or not the only appearance of It's a Secret to Everybody. I want to say that shows up in a few others.
Isn't there a It's Dangerous reference in Link to the Past? Or have I made that up?
If there is, I don't remember it. It could be.
I feel like, because I only played A Link to the Past for the first time very recently, and I vaguely remember being like, they did the thing!
I will have to see when we get to that episode. I'm very interested. That's the interesting thing. Yeah, I was playing through Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. I was absolutely expecting them to do something about that, and I don't remember that ever actually being a thing in there. It is wild because like in those games it would almost be perfect because they just give you weapons everywhere. So here's just someone giving you a weapon, right? Technically, I think that like that's been retconned. That's supposed to be that timeline's version of Sarasala. I'm never going to say that.
Yeah.
Elder Old Man.
Yes. Old man adventure guy.
Yes. Link, Zelda, obviously there. No Impa in this one.
Yeah, there's very little in it, isn't there? Because like,
there's a lot of NPCs, but they're like
get
one
ahead of
sentence,
myself,
right?
But like it's late in the timeline, isn't it? Supposedly.
Oh yeah. Okay.
So like
that's actually great. Let's go to the next segment. Where does it fit on the timeline? So I believe I know which timeline it's on. I believe
I'm pretty sure it's the end of days.
Yeah,
it's the
dies, like the hero fails timeline, or the hero never shows up timeline. Whatever version you want to see. Ganon wins timeline.
Yes, Ganon gains access to the Triforce, and the world ends. Sort of.
Yeah, I want to say like it and the Adventure of Link might be the end as far as we've seen on that timeline.
Yeah, I think so. I think there's something before them between the hero fails and Zelda, Legend of Zelda. I feel like there's something else in there.
Oh, there's a few things. Yeah. There's technically, well, you know what? I don't know that you've played it yet, so we'll talk about that when we get to that episode.
Oh, wait.
So yes, there's a few things on the downtown timeline. Again, assuming my memory is right, which we will find out. This is going to be interesting. Technically speaking, we can't look at the timeline for probably a couple of years at this point. With how long we're going to do these episodes. But yes, I'm pretty confident it is the downfall timeline. It is directly, I know for a fact it's directly before the Adventure of Link, because I have that manual memorized almost entirely for the Adventure of Link.
Yeah, it's definitely the downfall timeline because there is no hero. The world is dark. Monsters are rampant. Like, just...
Yep. And also, like, there's no Ganondorf period anymore, right?
Yes, it's just Ganon.
Yeah, like he's fully ensorcelled with the Triforce of power and all that stuff, and for whatever reason, it makes him into a pig man. But it is what it is.
He's just living his best life.
It is also the first time that Link, and maybe the only time that Link had a full ensemble dance commercial, which is very, very famous and is amazing. If you have never seen the Legend of Zelda Japanese dance commercial, you need to go fix that. I'm not going to explain it. You just need to go.
Yeah, you just gotta experience it for yourself.
Yes, it's great. It's great. So yeah, I think I'm pretty confident in it being in the downfall timeline. I think we're aligned on that. I'm pretty sure I know what precedes it directly, and I don't know that I'm going to tell you that because you haven't. I don't think you've played it yet. So
is it Echoes of Wisdom? Because
maybe
I'm like halfway through that. So
great.
Yeah,
I don't think there's any direct correlation, like narratively, so it's not a spoiler thing or anything like that. I just vaguely remember them putting out an official updated timeline with Echoes of Wisdom, and I'm like, why would it be there? Okay,
right, yeah.
And then
what else is in that timeline?
There, in the downfall timeline, I want to say, is it not also Minish? No, Minish Cap is in.
That's in the Twilight
Wind Waker
Princess one,
timeline,
right?
yeah.
Oh,
Well, Wind Waker,
Minish
Twilight
before?
Princess.
I remember. This is why we're doing this podcast.
This is why we're doing this. We're going to try and see if we can resuscitate
because we
our
do
memory.
this anyway.
Yeah, we have these conversations.
Yeah.
Look, we're all doing this just so that we can get to the Twilight Princess episode and gush about Link finally kissing Midna.
Yeah. That is the entire purpose.
We're going to get to that point. We're going to talk about that for like a good 20 minutes.
Prepare for the Twilight Princess episode to be like 3 hours long. Just
probably
buckle up for it now.
I know most of the happenings in that game from memory. Like I can remember a lot of the lines of dialogue in that game.
Yeah,
because it's great. Okay, well, I think we're pretty good on where it is in the timeline. We don't have to know the entire timeline for this. We just need to say, where is this one in the timeline? I will, for the listeners here, I have not figured out how yet, but I will have some sort of visual representation of where we are putting this in the timeline. I'll throw that into a website that I have getting built up for this. And it'll just be, it's not going to be pretty. It might even just literally be a Notion page embedded in there. I'm not sure yet. And similarly, brings us to the next segment, which is going to be a very short one because there's only one option right now. Where does it rank on our personal list of Zelda games? Which I think we're only going to list out of the ones that we've talked about so far.
Yes.
Which means that the list currently contains exclusively The Legend of Zelda. So
yeah, it's both first and last in my ranking.
It's first and last in ranking, which is not a very difficult thing. Obviously, as these episodes go on, it'll become longer and more defined. Was your first time playing The Legend of Zelda? I guess I should have asked this earlier. Was it on an NES or was it on something else?
No, it was on the Wii.
Okay. That makes sense.
I essentially, to cut a long story short, my first Zeldas were the DS Zeldas.
Hell yeah.
And for a solid 5 years, I did not know that they were part of a series. And then my mind was blown when I was introduced to the other ones. And some of my lovely friends in high school let me borrow their GameCube Zelda discs and Wii.
Do you
Zelda
got to play
games.
Phantom Hourglass before you played Wind Waker?
Yeah.
Okay.
Phantom Hourglass was my first one.
That's
So I had no idea.
totally
like,
valid.
When I played Wind Waker, I was like, wait.
Wait.
So yeah.
No, I mean,
but
it didn't
did-
have, oh my God, Captain, what's his name? The pirate captain that you go around with in Phantom Hourglass.
Lineback?
Yes, it did not have Lineback in Wind Waker, but
No, yeah, Lineback's still one of my favorite characters. But that's a story for another day.
yes,
But yeah, essentially I played in the space of about 6 months. I did Zelda 1 and 2, Wind Waker, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Twilight Princess, bit of Four Swords. I did Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons. So I did like a huge chunk in a really short time. And
that's an interesting selection of them because there's a lot of different like gameplay styles in that selection.
It was the ones that were available on that like 4 games in 1 and 2 games in 1 GameCube discs. Yeah, and then I actually did Master Quest before Ocarina of Time, and I did Majora's Mask before Ocarina of Time as well, because I didn't know about the timelines.
Sure.
So yeah, so my Zelda experience growing up was really wonky, and then because I smashed through all of them to play them all before Skyward Sword released. So that was like it was my ship on the horizon kind of thing that I was aiming for, you know, like I was like, right, Skyward Sword is coming out. It's a new Zelda game. I've got to play through a bunch of them so that I can play this new one. So yeah, I have since gone back and replayed a bunch of them, but the 2D ones are less endearing to me, so I didn't return to them, and therefore they are muddy in my brain. So yeah.
No, that's understandable. I mean, again, that's why this is going to be fun, because there are gaps in both of our memories on these games, and we will see how accurate they are. I think it is worthwhile.
And people have to be nice to us as well. You have to be nice.
Please. Look, I'm not putting this anywhere that allows comments, but please don't be upset. You know what? I don't know if that's true. We'll figure out about YouTube. You know what? No, we're no comments.
Even if it's on YouTube, no comments.
Turning comments off. No comments. All right, I'm going to pull up the Wikipedia page for The Legend of Zelda. It's going to be hard. I got to find the one that's actually for the game and not the series.
Just do The Legend of Zelda 1986.
Yes. Nope.
That should
apparently Legend of Zelda video game.
Oh.
All right. Gameplay, action roleplay, flip screen overhead. Yep. We did not list over every item that was potentially original in here, because literally anything that was in here was the first time. So heart containers, magic rings, sure. Right, which eventually become the armbands.
Yes. Strong hands.
Mm-hmm. No, these are the magic rings in Legend of Zelda were the like defense, right?
Oh.
So they eventually get kind of combined. Now I'm saying this, they get combined with the tunics in later games. Because I think in this one the red tunic was for fire. I don't know. It's been so long. Yep. Monsters of blah, blah, blah. Okay. Plot.
Oh gosh.
Takes place in the era of decline. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
This sentence. Within the Zelda chronology, The Legend of Zelda takes place in an era called the Era of Decline, which exists in an alternative reality. What does that mean? Small kingdom where residents now live in caves. I guess that's true. Like, there is no Hyrule Castle.
Yeah,
we're gonna have to figure out what we consider the origination of Hyrule Castle. This will be interesting.
Oh yeah.
Isn't
it technically Zelda 2?
I don't. We'll talk about that in the next episode. But I'm going to give you a hint. I actually don't think so.
Okay.
The small kingdom of Hyrule is engulfed by chaos when the army led by Ganon, the Prince of Darkness, invades and steals the Triforce of Power. All right, got that. One piece of magical
he's referred to as Ganon, the Prince of Darkness, even though he's a pig man?
He sure is.
Okay, cool.
I don't think you actually, until you get to the boss room, I don't think any of the like instruction manuals or materials show you what he looks like.
Oh, okay.
Which is different than in Zelda 2, which we'll talk about that as well.
Mm-hmm.
Invades and steals Triforce of Power, one part of in attempt to prevent him from acquiring the Triforce of Wisdom. Zelda splits into 8 fragments and hides them in secret underground dungeons before she's kidnapped by Ganon. Oh, I was wrong. She commands her nurse. She's in the manual. She's not in the game. She commands nursemaid Impa to find someone courageous enough to save the kingdom. While wandering the land, the old woman is surrounded by Ganon's henchmen when a young boy named Link appears and rescues her. Just a random dude. Hey, this old lady's in trouble.
Just a guy.
Upon hearing Impa's plea, he resolves to save Zelda and set out to reassemble the scattered fragments of the Triforce of Wisdom, with which Ganon can be defeated. During the course of the tale, Link locates and braves 8 underworld labyrinths. Beyond their defeated guardian monsters, retrieves each fragment. With the completed Triforce of Wisdom, he's able to infiltrate Ganon's hideout in Death Mountain, confronting the Prince of Darkness and destroying him with a silver arrow.
Yes.
Obtaining the Triforce of Power from Ganon's ashes, Link returns it and the restored Triforce of Wisdom to the rescued Princess Zelda. And peace returns to Hyrule. So Impa's not in the game, but she is the manual, so that counts. That's the first appearance of Impa. I was wrong.
I mean, technically you were right, because you were like, I don't think Impa's in the game.
Yep. But I'll still take that as a blotch that I'm wrong. We're not going to keep tally of how much it's wrong. Like, we're just here to see how close we get.
Yeah, we're just here to have fun and be big nerds.
Yes. I think it's interesting, like, obviously they wouldn't have known at the time, but in the context of the greater Zelda timeline, there's no, hey, historical occurrences of Link or Zelda. People don't realize the green tunic means anything or anything like that.
I mean, there is an element of that from like later in the games. There's like a tradition aspect, isn't there? But they don't understand, like they don't know for sure why it happens.
And in this timeline, or at least at this point in the timeline, it's just not there, right? Like there's just none of that. I mean,
everything's gone.
The world's been destroyed multiple times at this point, so they probably don't remember. There is no libraries. You live in caves, which I never really thought about before. Still got these fully set up dungeons that are like well designed and well kept. Don't live there. Go live in the caves.
Yeah. Whichever enemies live in each one, they're clearly hired and like part of a union and stuff, and they take good care of them. So.
Oh my god, what are the 3-headed dragons' names?
The Gleox?
Yes, the Gleox. So my brain is poisoned by Cadence of Hyrule because I cannot think of them other than thinking of the term Glockenspiel. Because they're Glockenspiels. Yeah. And so my brain could not separate that. I'm like, it's not a Glockenspiel. That's not the name of them.
It is now.
Look, we're gonna have an episode about Cadence of Hyrule because I love that.
Yeah. All you haters can just not. We're gonna talk about it. We both love the game, so
it's so good.
Nintendo licensed it out. Okay, that means it's official.
It is. There are numerous things that happen in that game that are important, and including the gameplay. It's fantastic. We'll get to there eventually. The side games. If we make it through the entire series, if we keep this going, we will talk about which side games we're going to talk about. We probably will not talk about all of them. It might just be an episode where we just talk about a bunch of them. Who knows? That's a long ways away.
That could be good. Like non-canon cool things that the Zelda franchise has done.
We are not going to spend time on the CDI games. We might talk about the CDI games. We are not making entire episodes about Wand of Gamelon. I could. I won't. So yeah, I mean that's kind of the gist of it, right? Like, hey, we're pretty close. I got something wrong. Talking about what it means to us, kind of where does it fit in the timeline? Was very easy right now. That'll progressively get longer as we talk, as well as these episodes may get longer, but this is probably the right length for them.
Yeah,
good 30 minutes.
It's just us talking nonsense for 20 minutes or so.
Yeah. So that does mean the next episode of this will be Legend of Zelda 2, The Adventure of Link. We are not setting any type of hard timelines. Hopefully we will have another episode out within the next month. Maybe before then, doesn't matter. I will try to figure out when these episodes go live. If you're listening to this, episode 0 will also be going up at the same time. So hopefully you've at least heard that to hear us try and figure out what this is. Ellie, is there anything you want to shout out at the end of this episode?
No.
No?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
You can just find us, if you like what you're listening to, you can find us both all over the internet at our usernames, which I'm sure will be on the website.
Yes,
so,
I'll have that in the show notes.
We both do streaming and stuff and talk about video games a bunch. So thank you for listening.
Yeah. Thank you, everybody, for listening. This has been Lost Woods Radio. If you have a way to contact us and you have any concerns about what you heard, please let us know. I'm not going to make an email address for this at this time, so you won't have an official way to contact us. But yes,
that won't stop them.
That will not stop them. That won't stop them. All right, folks. Thank you so much for listening, and that was Lost Woods Radio.